Hello, everybody. We are live. Come on, Instagram. How are you doing? Seeing people joining online on Instagram and people joining already on Facebook and YouTube live. Thank you. Thank you. We are live now. It's so good to have you all um, uh, joining us this afternoon. Yeah, so interesting. Um, okay. All right. So, thank you for people joining us. People are joining us too on Instagram already. I want to thank you all, guys. Thank you for joining us. Please do me a favor this evening. Try to Mrs. Mogwari Florence. How are you today? Please try to invite a friend. Let someone also know that this program is up and we are all live. It's going to be it's going to be a very brief one today. I'll be discussing on blocked tubes today. What do you do with blocked fallopian tubes? What are the natural options? And these are the things that I'll be talking about today. Uh, right. So please do me a favor, invite your friend, let them know that we are live, and then we are kicking. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sister Desanya Busola, thank you, thank you. All right. Um, I guess the euphoria of the just concluded elections of the United States is still up in the air. Um, Either way it goes, we hope that the opinions of the people is respected, as the case may be. Uh, and I think that is ultimate. The entire world right now is yet to recover from the effect of the global pandemic, HIV, that's HIV, COVID 19. And so it's a time for leadership to rise up and do something real quick, something real urgently. And so whoever wins, we hope that they're going to do the right thing and help the entire world to get out of this mess. It is not a matter to be politicized. I said that after the elections on Tuesday, COVID 19 is going to be resolved in the United States of America for good, whichever way it went, because a whole lot of it has been politicized. But thank God, at least we've seen the end of that phase. And after that phase, right now, we can start looking forward to very practical, pragmatic actions and steps that can be taken to handle COVID 19, either by the outgoing president or by the incoming president of the United, because the US plays a major role when it comes to all of these things. That might probably be my COVID 19 update for today. After the show last week, a whole lot of people were kind of asking me, so what else can we do? You mentioned a few things. You mentioned the beta T, and I said yes, I did mention the beta T. Mrs. Abigail Ajiri, how are you, ma? Good evening. Uh, um, you will need to get the beta T if that is what you are looking for. You will need to get the beta T from Nigeria. I heard some people are selling from the UK. There are also people who are also selling in the United States of America. So you may want to get it from those places. Mrs. Semen, how are you, ma'am? You want to get it from those places and then do the right thing, right? Um, it's prophylactic, it's curative, more prophylactic, curative for it outcomes have been known to live. Right. So it's no longer news, but the second wave is hitting very hard. A lot of people are getting infected, and it shouldn't be. There is a need for us to manage effectively the things happening right now so that we don't have Mrs. Otedola in it or however, so that we can actually, save more lives as the case may be. So today I'll be talking about block tubes and how it affects fertility. This is going to be one in a series of 3 episodes. When I come in next week, I'll be discussing in further details what are the natural options, and what else can you do in cases of infertility, especially as it's caused by blocked fallopian tubes. Okay, so there are many causes for infertility. So we got to start with that. Like I said, this today's show is going to be very brief. Now I need to also speak about the timing. We had the daylight zone time change in the course of that was last week now. Here where I live in the UK, it's been like 2 weeks. A lot of things are going on. We're not able to kind of have the right timing. We've been mixing the time up, and then I just finished from boot camp that we had planned to take 1 hour 30 minutes, and so that was already eating the time of this program. Right now in Nigeria, it's about 8 p.m. Um, my plan is that Nigeria should be 7 p.m. So that would mean the time will come back to 11 p.m. here for the program to start. We will work out all of those modalities before the next program next week. But bear with us if you are in Nigeria and you've already missed time. We're expecting us to come online for 7 p.m. We do really apologize for that. Right? I think the time for the guys in the UK is still okay. I think the UK is going to be 6 p.m. But we will look at all of the timing, and then we will ensure that we put out their correct time out there. Thank you very much. Okay, so there are many causes of infertility. Blockage of the fallopian tubes is one major reason for infertility, and quite a number of people are not aware. Why do they have this blockage? What have they done? But let me announce to you that it's not a death sentence. That's one. Number two, and it doesn't mean that you have to kiss fertility bye bye because you have blocked tubes. This is the essence of this program today, next week, Saturday, and then the upper one. So for 3 Saturdays, I'll be devoting our time to talking about how to handle blocked fallopian tube. So if you know anybody who has been struggling with conception, I think this is one of the shows that they really want to listen to. And um, the services for now they are free of charge, so you can watch this for free. Okay, so one of the common names given to blocked fallopian tube is Asherman syndrome. It's also called tuberculosis occlusion. That is a medical term given to it, and it's just because the 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 tubes connect the uterus to the ovaries. All right, now, so that affects the delivery of eggs. Even when the ovaries are functional, when the release of eggs to flow through it is going to be affected because the tubes that will carry the eggs are already blocked. Number two, it will also affect how sperm travels through blood flow. This also will be affected when the sperm cannot reach the ova for fertilization to occur. Then there is an obstruction. That also is a very strong thing when it comes to conception. So obviously, it becomes kind of impossible for fertility or conception to take place when people have blocked fallopian tubes. So these are the areas we'll be dealing with. So what are blocked fallopian tubes? How did they come about? And then what has medical sciences got to say about them? And then in subsequent edition, I will now be treating and talking about what are your options. Because in medical parlance, the surgery is always like what is recommended. But I will also talk about that. Maybe not in detail, but I will mention the surgery. So you want to rethink your options. So what do I do when I find myself in this condition, in this situation? All right. So the fallopian tubes is made up of the fallopian tube, the uterus, and the ovaries. These are the major components of the female reproductive system. And so, if anything is going to go wrong with fertility for any lady, these are the things that we would want to first of all check. We want to confirm if the ovaries are still producing viable eggs. We want to be sure that the activities within the uterus are normal. I want to be sure that the fallopian tubes are not blocked. They provide an easy pathway for the flow of the sperm and also for the flow of the egg, which is like a two-way traffic. It's not like it happens concurrently, but they happen one step after the other. And so for every woman, there is a need to understand this process and then work with your healthcare provider in the case of anything that at all will be done. So this show is important for people who are not yet trying to conceive. So yours is a case of prevention. And for those people who have been trying to conceive and it's because of blocked fallopian tube, so your own issue is a case of reversal. And so either side, Mrs. Eka Devanjo, how are you, ma? So either side of the divide that you fall into today, I will advise that you listening and then learn a few things and then rethink your options, especially when you are speaking with your healthcare provider. And if you want to go with the natural option, then this program is a lot for you. Then I will implore you to listen in not just today, listen in tomorrow. I mean, listen in next week Saturday and then the upper Saturday. So these 3 Saturdays will be devoted towards this episode. Okay. All right. So the fallopian tubes connect the uterus to the uterine cavity. They connect the uterus to the cavity. They connect the ovaries to the uterus. And then, like I explained, if there is any blockage, obviously, everything that is called reproduction will be truncated. So nothing is going to happen. So how do we come about this? How do people get into this? So I would quickly talk about things that can cause a blocked tube. And there are so many of these. There are some common ones, and there are some that are not common. So there are those that are intentional. For example, tubal ligation, which some women intentionally do, which is the tying of their tubes. So some women intentionally tie their tubes so that they will not conceive anymore. If they are done, they can tie the tube. Some women have done this. But what we are also finding is that when it's now time for them to untie, some women, Mrs. Tinuka, how are you, ma? When it's now time for them to untie the womb and that they want to conceive, some it becomes quite impossible in some cases because the tubes are already blocked, not just tied now. They go from being tied to being blocked. It's a common cause. So many women have already fallen victim to this. Ectopic pregnancy can also cause a blocked fallopian tube. Right. So after ectopic pregnancy is taken over a lead, the fallopian tubes could be blocked. Complications from lower abdominal surgery, especially cesarean section, when CS is performed, so for women, if it is not properly done, and there are complications, the woman can can have their tubes blocked with such cases too. And then, there are in developing countries, genital tuberculosis is common. Genital tuberculosis can also lead to blocked fallopian tubes. Pelvic inflammatory disease can block the tubes. Uterine fibroid can block the fallopian tube. So there are women that the fibroid is submucosa, meaning that it is pressing into the inner side of the uterus. So sometimes it presses in and it presses in on the tubes, that the tubes are hard pressed. So the pressure applied creates a kind of a block. So to open up such blocked tubes, you need to get rid of that fibroid that is already growing into the tubes. Now, so there are so many other things. Endometriosis also can also cause blocked fallopian tube. So you want to look at what is the cause, right? And again, Asherman syndrome, which is so common. For Asherman syndrome, it is noticed that Asherman syndrome is caused by wrongly performed D&C. For some people who go through that, you want to check, you want to pay attention to that. And then if you are taking that option you want to really discuss what can you actually do to help yourself. This is from Lao Shamo, how are you, ma? You want to really talk with your healthcare provider and what you can do to prevent a blocked tubes as a result of you having a D&C. So the things that we'll be discussing this week, next week, and the upper week will also be for your information. If not now, later on, if you decide eventually that you really want to have a D&C, you want to have a CS, a cesarean section, you want to have any procedure at all that has to do with your tubes, with your uterus, this show is for you. Mrs. Rita, how are you, ma'am? Good afternoon. She's watching from uh, I think YouTube. Yeah, I think YouTube. All right. So you really want to look at your options and then do what you can do to help yourself. That's number one. Aside looking at your options, some information here can help you so that you will not uh, have a blocked tubes because you can actually prepare yourself, right? You can prepare yourself uh, not to have your tubes blocked. Okay, so all these things I'm saying, they are science supported. Many researchers have gone ahead to confirm this issue in women and why people have had their tubes blocked. So there are three ways for you to actually confirm if your tubes are blocked. There are three tests you should consider. So I'm kind of going to say, please pay attention. Talk to your if you have tried severally to conceive and it's becoming an issue, you want to carry out this test and then have proper diagnosis to know what exactly is going wrong within your system so that you can have the right solution, right? So don't just jump on something. There are people who have been taking so many concussions, many advices, they've been drinking in so many things, and they do not know. I have a client that they've been married for a few years, close to like after 7, 8 years thereabout, and then they trying to conceive, but they've gone to do test, and the test reveals blocked tubes, but they cannot interpret the test, and the doctors never told them that the wife has gotten blocked tubes, and then they've been carrying that test around for 2 years. And when I saw this, I was like, "So what are you guys been doing?" And they're like, "We've been trying, we've been doing this." And I "Didn't they tell you your wife's womb, your wife's tubes are blocked?" They're like, "No, nobody told us." Nobody. So that's why I said diagnosis first, proper diagnosis. Having the right information about what exactly is going on with your system is the first thing you want to do. So I would like to advise people on getting proper diagnosis. Go for the right test, run the right test, get the right diagnosis, know what exactly is wrong. It's when you know what is wrong that you can now begin to think of solutions and prefer solutions so that you don't keep using medication that is meant for headache. You are using the same medication for stomach disorder, which wouldn't work in any way. So there are three tests that you can do. The first one is it's called HSG, right? So you can do that test. It's an X-ray test, which is going to reveal. It's like a dye. A dye is introduced into the uterus, and then it's going to give a clear picture of what is going on in your uterus. This is a test that you can run. It's one of the tests that I recommend. The second one is what is called chromotubation. Yeah, so that is also an X-ray test, right? A dye is also used in this one, but this time it's blue in color. So this dye is going to go introduced into the uterus as well, and then it's going to give a clear picture of what is going on in there. So you want to do that. Then the third one is called sonohysterography, right? This also is a non-invasive procedure. It uses ultrasound imaging, not X-ray imaging, it's ultrasound imaging. So that is also a test that you can carry out. Though it is not always reliable to determine fallopian tube blockage, but it's one of the three tests that are out there that you want to do. So I listed them in the order that you can rely on them. So the first one I would recommend is to do an HSG. That will come on top of my list even before a chromotubation. So you can talk to your specialist to order this test for you so you can confirm and have a proper diagnosis of your condition. So what does medical science say? How do they handle blocked tubes? I will discuss this and tell you what are the pros and the cons if that is the path you choose to go. Right. So one of the first options is surgical, which is to go through surgery, and then uh, it can be done through abdominal surgery or laparoscopy, which is just like they just put a small incision, and then uh, you know they kind of it's like they want to clear off the adhesion. Now, what do we mean adhesion? So, like I said, some medical procedures are also responsible. Now, the tubes are made up of tissues, and then when when a procedure is carried out, it's like when you have a wound on your skin, when an injury is inflicted on your skin. Many people carry the scars for long. Some scars can develop and grow up to become keloids. For some people in their tubes, what they have growing there is like keloids, and so they have it growing. The scar tissues, they begin to connect from one point of the tube to the other part of the tube, therefore causing a like a blockage, because it's not like it's a blockage. They block it. It's a growth. They grow into each other, and then like what you have keloids or scars on your skin, that is the way they grow. So they grow together. So there is no passageway. So surgery, the surgical option is to open it up, right? So you have several things that is done. There is one that is performed in the case, for people who chose the option for IVF. This one is done to open it up, and then they remove part of the fallopian tube. There are some cases where the pregnancy is meant to be carried out in a topic manner, like they make a hole, they drill a hole, then the pregnancy is actually developed. So, you know, there are several surgical, options that are out there. But one thing is certain for all the several options when it comes to surgery. The certain thing is that when surgery is carried out, is like you are inflicting more injury on the tubes, and then you really need to correct that. So how do you do when you inflict more injuries? The more injury you inflict, the more likely the fact that more scar tissues are going to be formed. So we are creating more problem than the ones we are trying to solve. That is what happens. So you create more problems. If you go for the surgical session, then you create more. Then that's number one. Number two, after surgery is taking place, if you choose the option of surgery, then you need to work with a fertility expert. And what I mean, in fact, before you even go ahead to consider the option for surgery, I would advise that you work with fertility experts, right? Doctors who specialize in that field, if at all that's the option you want to go for, so that they can easily help after the surgery. Let there be an implantation. Let there be further. I mean, if they want to do, like an IVF, like manual implantation, not a natural one, then let it be done quickly before the cells begin to form, and then there's another problem down there, right? So you want to quickly do that before the scar tissues start coming up. So these are some of the things you really want to watch out for. So there are quite a number of other things that are done, but the major disadvantage to almost all the surgical or medical care or procedure, response to blocked fallopian tube, because is that these growth, the scar tissues or the adhesion will always grow back, and then they grow back because you are injuring the uterus more. The tubes are getting injured the more, so the scar tissues are going to regrow, and when they grow, they come back in double folds, right? And that again, it's terrible, because other parts and other organs that surround the location can also be affected, like the bladder can be affected. It can form on other parts of the abdominal cavity as well, including the reproductive organs, due to the surgical procedure. So you need to be careful. If that is the option you want to go for, please ensure that you are properly enlightened. Know what to do so as to prevent scar tissues from forming. There are several things to be done. I have been mentioning some of these in the course of this program in subsequent broadcasts. All right. Again, if you are going to be opening up the pelvic, you risk opening up your abdomen, you run the risk of pelvic infection. And then ectopic pregnancy, I don't think that is safe for anybody. So surgery is common, but you want to really, really weigh your options if that is what you want to do. There are natural alternatives. And what are these natural options? So I will run through a few natural options today, and then I'll be eating deep into them in subsequent in subsequent weeks. So what can you do? Number one, I always tell people that your uterus needs to detox. Apart from your body detoxifying, which is the removal of toxic waste, toxic materials and products, your uterus also needs proper detoxification. That is one. Last week I mentioned this. Apart from detoxification, you must also work on stopping further reintroduction of toxins into your system. You cannot be relying on detoxification and detoxifying herbs, teas every now and again for your body to completely detox. That in itself is an issue, and this is one of the issues of some of the issues that the people in the medical sciences have with natural health, because people use most of these products arbitrarily. They just don't know when to stop. And so they rely on them. And the fact is that your body also requires some of these products, right? Your body will also require to exit the waste materials of this product at the right time. So when we say that natural products are not harmful, oh yes, they are not. But for everything that goes into your body, the waste must be passed out. So when you are, if the waste are not passed out, they become toxic, right? And so when you keep ingesting herbs, natural products every now and again, you are using it arbitrarily. It's going to lay a whole lot of burden on your liver. It's going to also affect your kidney. Now, these are the areas where the people in the medical field will always want to throw the baby away with the bathwater and say, you guys using all these natural products should be careful. Of course, care needs to be emphasized, but care in the usage. Right. So what you need to do is that you cannot keep relying on supplements and other herbal products for detoxification. You should rather work on stopping further reintroduction of toxic materials and substances into your system. That is very key. It's something you need to work on. And how do you do that? Eliminate every disease promoting substances. Those you eat, those you apply on your body, those you are exposed to by reason of your location, places that you go, places that you visit. You want to really cut down and look at your surroundings, study yourself, sit down and ask yourself, what is the benefit of this that I'm putting into my stomach, into my mouth? What is the benefit of this? You want to look at foods that are dangerous, that are not healthy. You want to look at those foods that have been labeled poisonous. You want to think about some of these things. You really need to remove them. Somebody is asking me, do you drink coffee? No. Coffee is one of those things. You need to really, you have to stay away from caffeine if you really want to have a clean uterine health. Caffeine is not going to be your friend, right? But now this is a twist to that question. Now, because one of the things that you need to cleanse your uterus is the white tea. White tea is different from green tea. White tea is even when it comes to cleansing your uterus, the white tea is so potent, is so helpful. But even at that, because of the caffeine level, you don't want to take too much of the white tea. You want to tone it down, right? So, like I will always advise that you do this like once or twice in a month and get rid of it, and that's all. Another tea that you can use is the dandelion tea. Dandelion tea. That's another good tea that you want to also use. And there are some other herbs as well that you can use to cleanse your uterus. Why do you need to cleanse your uterus? You will find people who run their periods for like 5 days. I said last week as well that for 5 days, 3 days the flow is normal. The last 2 days is like it's just spotting for 2 days. That is not normal. There are certain things that are still hidden there that the body did not push out, that your uterus did not push out. You want to push them out completely. And how do you do that? You want to help that process. And it's just like I will always say again, it's not something that will not be a part of your life. Your body should get to a point where it should be able to exit those toxins naturally without any help. And so when you start with this process, it gets to a point where your body can do that and exit these things naturally. So that will be the first stage for anybody who wants to achieve any success at all with anything reproductive. Is it fibroid? Is it endometriosis? Is it PCOS? You need to first of all work about cleansing your uterus and ensure that your uterus properly detoxifies. The waste materials from the previous cycles are eliminated and exited from your system as at when necessary. This is also a function of what you eat, because normally your body should do this, but when you have a lot of toxins coming into your system, the part of your body that should do this, the organs that should do this, they are already I would say they are already they are already being overworked getting rid of the other toxins in your body. So they can't even focus on your monthly period to say they want to come back there and begin to exit that. And before you know it, another period is here. So you're having an accumulation. So you want to get rid of that accumulation and help your system. Okay, Scottish Timmy. How are you, madam? I think I know who Scottish Timmy is. It's been a while. Okay, Mrs. Abigail Ajiri, you take dandelion tea. Yeah, dandelion tea is effective. Yeah, it's effective. But the white tea is much more effective than the dandelion tea. white tea. That is like the green tea, but it's called the white tea. Okay. All right. So I want to move on from there and then talk about the next thing that will be done. So I'm just eating this in subsequent editions. So I'm going to be diving deep into it. Right. Okay. So we also use the enzyme therapy. Now, so I'm not going to go into detail over this enzyme therapy. So there are a few enzymes that when you take them in forms of capsule, there are some that are provided like in natural food. You just ingest them, and they are able to go to the part of the blockage, and then they are able to clear out, they block the scar tissues that is blocking the fallopian tube. It's a therapy. It's not just like what you ingest alone. We'll call it systemic enzyme therapy. I'll be dealing with that in greater details in subsequent edition, right? You know, so this can be used. It goes straight to the point of the blockage and then it reduce the scar tissue, so it clears up the pathway, right? And then the other one, which is the last one I will mention today, is the use of the there are certain massage procedures that you can do that will help your health and that will help your body. There are a few massage procedures that you can also carry out. And the femoral massage is one of them. Massage with castor oil pack. Castor oil pack, you don't ingest it, you just apply it from outside, right? And then that is what I call the castor oil pack massage. And then you apply that over around your pelvis where your uterus is located, and then that also helps to remove that blockage. I will be dealing more with these in subsequent editions. So today, I've just done a brief introduction into looking at blocked tubes and what are your options. So like I said, if you are going to go for the medical option for surgery, these methods, these natural responses that I mentioned, if you sit with them, they will also help to prevent the adhesion or the blockage. That is, they will help to prevent the scar tissues from forming if you will go through the natural responses, even if you choose to have a surgery. So that was why I said, whether you're having a surgery to remove the blocked tubes, you're having a surgery for fibroid, piece, whatever surgery that you have to do that has to do with your uterus, there's a need for you to listen and watch this properly so that you can avoid scar tissues from forming after the surgeries are carried out. Because when these scar tissues form, then it becomes it blocks the tube. Is a white tea loose or in bags? They are in bags. They are in bags. Okay. Mrs. Aino Lara, good evening, ma. All right. All right. So this is where I'm going to stop for today. Today we began the bootcamp for fibroid and fertility for people who have fibroid and fertility. I'm not sure whether we're going to have a bootcamp for people with blocked tubes. We may not, right? So if it's going to come up, then I will let you know about that. But I'm not sure it's going to be like run for long, for 2 days, and then we will announce what it's going to cost, and people should just go on board and register. But I don't. Yeah, some Mrs. Kadebanjo, some women don't have problems getting pregnant, but they have problems carrying into term. Yeah, that would be the situation with people who have the surgery is not reliable. Oh yeah, best to go herbal. Yeah, that's just what I've said today, because the surgery will not prevent a regrowth. But like I said, if you choose to go for the surgical option, the processes, the natural responses that I've mentioned today can stop the regrowth of the scar tissues, that is the blocked tubes, to happen again. So in some cases, we may say, well, for this case, it's a complex case, right? Go for surgery. Let's remove it first. Then we'll now begin to treat you using the natural responses in handling it. So that also. So like I always say that I don't always say let's not go the medical way when we know that we can still use them. Except when it's not, I'll tell you, I don't do it, but you can go the surgical way, use medicine. But again, like she said, it's not reliable. If you just go do it alone without taking extra precautions, it's not reliable. It can even further complicate the conditions. Okay, so I'll let you know. You'll get updates from us. If you are not following us, please follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, so you can get updates and get programs like this whenever they come up, and then you can have important information that can be of help to you. If you want to consult for consultations, you can check us in the DM. Somebody will attend to your DM and give you the procedure and what to do to actually consult directly. This is how far we go for today. Thank you for being a part of this podcast, and thank you for allowing us to come into your rooms today to do this with you. I do really appreciate. Our boot camp for weight loss is coming up in January. The first one for the year is going to come up in January. So those who have been waiting for the boot camp, weight loss boot camp, after you eat, we allow you go and eat whatever you want to eat for Christmas. Then meet us in January. Thank you very much. See you again next week. All right, bye.